fact of the matter is there are going to be other coins that is going to do better than Bitcoin, not just on a returns level, not just from an investing perspective, from a technology
level
perspective as well.
Yeah.
So if you're totally fine with that, to not participate in that, then it's fine to stay where you are. But if you really want to learn, then try to move away a little bit from the what we call boomer coins, right? Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Boomer coin. Hey guys, welcome back to DeFiRL, your wormhole from TradFi to DeFi. In today's video, we're going to talk about the strategies on how you can navigate crypto in 2022.
Now remember guys, none of what we say is financial advice-ish. But if you really want to seek professional advice, especially for investing, please talk to a professional.
So guys, we have a brand new ebook for you. It is an ebook to teach you how to gain 20% almost risk-free on your money. And we're going to leave the link to the ebook in the comment section down below.
Okay, so Brad, I think the first strategy is not really a strategy, it's more of a mindset thing. I think this is especially for people who have been in crypto for a while, or people looking from the outside observing certain things, is that crypto can bring out the best and the worst in us as humans, right? And one thing that we really need to work on, I think, as crypto investors, is to improve and to discover and to adopt like very healthy habits. So I'll mention one, you mention one. I mean, there's many habits, but we don't go, to list out all the habits that we think are good. My first one is that you should spend a lot less time on Twitter. Or if you have to be on Twitter, you ought to do two things, right? The first is to follow the kind of people who will actually share what we call proper alpha, meaning they actually go they go into detail about why they don't own or why they do own this token, right? The second thing I think is that if you're going to be on Twitter, do consider creating as well. Because I think when you create, you are also kind of testing your knowledge or whether you get certain facts right about the token, and your followers and people who look at your post will be able to respond to it, and that sharpens your skills. And all these are very healthy habits. Now, what you don't want to do is to do something like, looking at someone draw a price chart and then draw a rocket up, and then you don't want to see people who say, "Wow, if you haven't bought so and so token yet, you're not gonna make it, or you're missing out, or probably nothing," things like that. So you want to avoid these kind of people who joke around most of the time or try to like instill certain kind of FOMO behavior in you, because at the end of the day, emotions are our biggest challenges when it comes to investing. But what would be your habit of choice?
I was just doing a kind of cliche thing to do in January for a new year. Kind of like a goal setting thing. And one thing that really stressed me out last year, and I was just talking about it over lunch with the guys, right, was that the first thing that I did when I woke up was to turn off my alarm, take my phone to the toilet, sit on the toilet bowl without having anything to do, and then I'm on CoinGecko. And then I'm on Twitter for the next 10 minutes. And when I stand up, my butt and my leg gets numb. So, I mean, that's TMI. But what I want to do is I really want to like build a really good morning routine where I can actually start the day in a very calm manner. Because when you really hop on the crypto world, right, be it through Twitter, be it through whatever other platform, right, you're kind of sucked into the frenetic pace of it. Because people always say one day in crypto is like 1 month in the real world, right? And when you're sucked into the pace, you're not dictating what actions you're going to take throughout the day, and that can be very damaging. And to be fair, I've made a lot of stupid financial decisions just looking at some of these charts you mentioned, right? Like, dude, this rocket looks so convincing. This chart makes a lot of sense to me. Hey, it's going to go to the moon. But it's going the wrong direction in the end. So I would suggest, like I build habits based on what I am comfortable, knowing what my daily routine is like. I would suggest everyone build habits around trying to get better knowledge as an investor through this year. Okay, so point number 2, right? And in a way, it kind of relates to point number 1, but not exactly, is have a life outside crypto. And I do want to applaud MJ for this because I think you do it very well. I think you have a really wide base of understanding when it comes to the financial world, history, the politics as well. And I feel like that is something I want to work upon this year. As much as it may for the outside person, right? It's so foreign. Hey, what has politics got to do with crypto? But it is 100% interlinked. And you do that really well, MJ. And I would like you to just tell me what you think about how just being a learner in the sense has helped you with your crypto investments as an investor.
Yeah, I think that, I come from a stock background, as you know. And one of the things about stock investing, and it can be extended to crypto also, is that it's called the last liberal art. So, long story short, a liberal art is essentially a generalist approach to art, right? Or to anything, to a craft. For most people today in the 21st century, they do well because they have a special skill. So maybe that is building computers, maybe that is building rocket ships, being a doctor, engineers and all that. So they're very specific skill and they get rewarded for that. Most of the time, generalist people don't get rewarded as highly because it's the old jack of all trades, master of none. Now, the beauty of investing is that you cannot afford to be a specialist because it's too multidisciplinary. Meaning to say that you cannot just say, I'm going to be a coder. That you being a good coder does not necessarily translate to you being a profitable investor, in my point of view. You need to know a lot of other stuff, things like game theory, things like understanding finance, the mathematics of finance, assessing teams and assessing community. There's a lot of other aspects that come into it. And so that's where I think a generalist can shine. So if you're someone like that, then definitely investing in crypto is going to be a little bit easier, I would say.
Okay. And before we went live recording, right, I was just looking through Telegram, one of our chats. And right now, on the 6th of January, if you're watching the crypto charts, it's a little bit red. It's a red day. Everything's down 20%, 15%. And one guy, maybe he's joking, but he sounded quite serious. He said that, oh man, if crypto really drops to, Bitcoin really drops to 30,000, I'll probably just just not look at my crypto charts at all. I'll just not focus on crypto. I'll just go on with my life as usual and be miserable. I think that's tying a lot of your self-worth and your net worth and your self-worth just into crypto, right?
Yeah, I think this is a guy thing as well. I don't know about you, but I think it's a guy thing where somehow the money in the bank account moves up in tandem with their like you say, their self-worth, right?
I don't think that's inflated because of that.
Yeah, I don't think that's a recipe. That's why we preach having good physical health and having good conversation with people, things like that. Talking to people outside of crypto, I think that it's very helpful.
It's very underrated. Again, we're too, sometimes I think in an industry, even with stocks, I suppose, even with crypto, we're so tunnel vision to being in our own world that, there's a life outside of just your charts and your phone screen, man.
100%.
Yeah, I would. This is a year that I want to improve in my crypto knowledge, but I also want to improve in other aspects as well, without letting crypto just swallow my life. Yeah.
Right, before we move on, guys, if you didn't know, we have a Telegram group, right? It's popping sometimes. Everyone is talking about price action and all the new projects coming up in different, crypto chains, right? So you better hop onto it. You can find it in the comments or the description. Okay, so this next one is a very simple strategy, but this is one thing I realized that is not happening often enough. One thing about crypto is that there's two terms you need to learn. One is centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges, or DeFi, right? Some people call it. So most people, when they get into crypto, they will set up an account in what we call a centralized exchange. So if you guys are on, let's say, Binance, Huobi, KuCoin, for Malaysians, Luno, these are centralized exchanges. Now, with centralized exchanges, what you can do is essentially just trade coins, and I believe now I've not been using them, but you can do some staking activity. That's about it, right? Some farming. But there's this whole other world out there with a lot more interesting opportunities, not just to profit, but also to learn and improve yourself in crypto, which is decentralized finance, which is all basically what this channel is all about, right? Yeah. And so if you're someone who maybe you have some Bitcoin or Ethereum in, let's say, a Binance account, one thing you may consider looking at is to move beyond that, right? To move part of your assets into a more progressive, a more productive ecosystem like a chain, right? So a lot of people buy Ethereum, but they don't know that their Ethereum can do so many other magical stuff in the world of decentralized finance. And if you're getting into decentralized finance today using web wallets and all that, if you guys have heard of MetaMask, things like that, then you are actually really, really early, because by my estimations, there is probably only 2 to 3 million DeFi users today. And imagine as more people hop on to this, to DeFi, right? Like if 500 million people hop on to DeFi.
It's a rocket lah, going up the charts.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah. So you are really early. So I think that's one strategy that you can consider doing if you haven't done it already.
Yeah, so I think I don't want to. I mean, you made a very good point, right? Like personally, I have for the longest time been just putting my money into my Binance, which is now banned in Malaysia. So don't put your money in Binance anymore. You shouldn't even start an account. Luno for the longest time, right? And I understood Ethereum on a very basic, very surface level. But once I got into DeFi, which I mean, of course, has its risks, I now understand Ethereum on a much deeper level. It's really just, it's like real world education, rather than just reading the textbooks. I would really recommend doing that. But of course, I mean, don't put money you can't afford to do. So of course, it is a wild, wild west out there.
Okay, so this next one, I think is something, again, it's fine if you don't adopt this strategy, but if you want to level up, so to speak, I think this is something you ought to be doing. And that is to not just hold on or just fixate yourself on Bitcoin or Ethereum, right? These are very important coins. They are the two largest coins in crypto right now. But know that what we call their dominance has been shrinking, right? If you watch this video about this video here about Bitcoin, our video about Bitcoin, you know what we're talking about. But basically, the relevance of these two coins from a technology perspective, even from an investing perspective, is slowly declining. That might not be music to the ears of a lot of people who are holding these coins, but the facts are the facts, right? And so if you really want to level up, try to look at other what we call chains or other blockchains, right? So whether it's your Solanas, your Lunas, your AVAX, Phantom, and things like that. Because there's this whole new world of innovation that, look, if you're already rich and you don't really care anymore, fine. But if you really want to learn, and even if you're already rich, right, but you just want to improve yourself, then do look at all these newer up and coming chains that actually have, interesting communities, very different communities from the ones you see in Ethereum and Bitcoin. Interesting projects. They have, in the case of Solana, at some point they were like double the development activities. That means there were more developers doing it. Very, very faster chains, you name it, right? So they have all this uniqueness. And if you just stick to Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is totally fine, you may be missing out on not just profiting, but really just learning about these innovations.
Yeah, well, someone told me Bitcoin is going to 1 million. So I'm still early now. Why don't you just buy Bitcoin and sit there?
Look, that's why it's not wrong, right? It's not wrong that Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin will do well over the next 10 years. The question is, are you satisfied with that? If you're satisfied with that, then that's fine. Because the fact of the matter is there are going to be other coins that is going to do better than Bitcoin, not just on a returns level, not just from an investing perspective, from a technology perspective as well. Yeah. So if you're totally fine with that, to not participate in that, then it's fine to stay where you are. But if you really want to learn, then try to move away a little bit from the what we call boomer coins, right? Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Boomer coin. So if you're liking this video so far, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and every single comment that you put in, we'll try our best to come up with a comment in return. So point number 5 that we really want to make and we want to stress out, at least for me, right? And this is a barrier of entry to a lot of people when they're like, oh, what is DeFi? What is this MetaMask wallet? Use it.
Seed phrase.
Yeah, and to be fair, right? It is a learning curve. You gotta spend some time learning. But I feel like what really propelled my understanding of DeFi was the fact that I was introduced to one chain, and that is the Terra chain.
Yep.
And from there on, I just focus on that one chain. I don't look at any other different things. Like I'm sure you heard of Solana, Ethereum, Phantom, and whatnot. I mean, those are great. They have the individual things going on, but sticking to one chain, right, really allows you to understand the ins and outs of what makes a thriving ecosystem. And if I were to just reword that, right, is that just really focus on one thing. Crypto, there's like thousands of different cryptos out there. What interests you? What do you think is going to pique your interest? Interest drives you very far, right? Stick to it, and then after that, from there, it's easier to kind of extend beyond just that one chain and better understand other chains. Now, this is how I understood, or my experience in DeFi was sticking to one chain. I know you had a point you want to make as well. You were talking about it earlier, MJ.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole idea of sticking to one chain is so that you can understand how a single blockchain operates, like, properly, right? It's like if you wanted to, like I'm a stock investing background, right? Like, it pays dividends to understand one industry really well, because then when you go into another industry, then you can start doing comparison. Hey, this I didn't see this in this chain before, right? Or this chain is not as good as this chain because of these reasons, right? So what you're doing when you already analyze one chain is that you have reference points. So once you have reference points, I mean, let me use this example, right? If you've broken up 1 or 2 times from your girlfriend or boyfriend, the third one you already have a reference point of what you're looking for and what you're not looking for, right? So it's the same thing, right? So that's exactly why you should focus. Now, related to this, I do think that you shouldn't be focused on a single chain for too long. So I think as a beginning, you should focus on that so you can study like each of the ecosystems, right? That's like parts, the building blocks of the ecosystem, right? What's a DEX, what's a AMM, what's a lending protocol and things like that. But you should start looking maybe at your second chain once you get that down. Because what happens is that a lot of people look at one chain, and especially if they make money out of it, is that they become complacent and they become maxis essentially, right? They say that this chain is the best, nothing else, right? This is happening to Ethereum. A lot of people made a lot of money in Ethereum, so they think that it's the best. And that in 2018, 2019, 2020, Ethereum did very well, and because they thought that there was nowhere else better to invest, the alternative, what we call L1 chains, right? Your Solana, Luna, and AVAX actually did way better than Ethereum. So you don't want you want to focus, but you don't want to focus for too long, right? Once you get all the building blocks, and it's tempting to be comfortable because you've mastered the chain already. You know what it's all about. It's tempting to just stay there and say, I'm only going to do things in one chain. Yeah. But if you want to challenge yourself, start hopping once you feel like you've got a good grip of that one chain. Yeah. So that's all I would like to add.
I mean, just to finalize on this point, right? I think right now in early 2022, life is just resuming for all of us. Like work's resuming, the traffic's back to normal. It took me forever to reach here.
Yep.
And time may not be as abundant as when we were stuck at home. And honestly, sticking to just analyzing, focusing on one chain, it's gonna take time, but not as much time as if you were to hop around and really, not deepen your insights into that one single chain. So, highly underrated strategy or point that I would want to rethink as well. So this last strategy, and this is something that I put here because I want to practice it myself, and I have to practice it myself, is to leave while you are ahead. Or in other words, right, really just know how much you need, know how much you want to make, and then just take profit as time goes on. Now, I'm going to flip it to you, MJ. Like, I was doing my resolution, and I know a certain soft, hard target, financial goal I want to achieve through crypto this year. But what's in your mind, your personal make it kind of figure in crypto? Like, what would make you just sell everything and say, okay, that's it, man. I don't want to stress out over reading charts or following.
I wouldn't like sell crypto. I mean, I would what we call de-risk, basically, to shift part of the portfolio into more stable coins, where it generates a passive but still rewarding yield for you to fund, let's say, your retirement. So for me, it's not so much the portfolio size, but it's the portfolio size in relation to how much it can generate in terms of income. At least that's like the retirement or that financial freedom goal, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that is, you know, as a single guy, right? Like, you know, if you can generate like 5 figures in ringgit terms, right? Every month, that would be like perfect. So from there, you can reverse engineer, right? So if you want to make 10K, let's say, you need 120. You need to find something that can give you 120K a year consistently.
Yes.
So if you are looking at, let's say, putting money into something like Anchor, right? We talked about Anchor in our previous video,
Yep.
which you can check out here. Then you take that 120K, you times 5.
600K.
So it's 600K in terms of, ringgit, right? So then you divide by 4.2-ish, right? So you get roughly 140K US dollars. Did I get it right? Yeah, 140K US dollars, let's say,
Big brain math,
in Anchor, and you hit your target. So
Retirement.
yeah, if that is how I would think about. But then I suggest you bring that up to, let's say, from 140 to 200, because Anchor yields might drop. I still remember when I started looking at Anchor, it was like 20-something%. Now it's dropped to
19.5.
19. But then in the future, you never know, because if you guys watch the Anchor video, you know that yield reserves are important. Let's say the yield reserves get depleted, who knows? They may have to lower the cost so that they can stay afloat, and then the cost will be the interest that people pay, that the bank and the protocol has to pay you and I, Anchor depositors. And so by lowering means they have to lower the APR. So you have to account for that as well. So whatever your target is, try to have like an additional
Buffer.
50, try to double that amount lah. So long story short, 200,000 US dollars in Anchor.
Okay, nice number there. Well, to be fair, I'm somewhere around the same region as you as well. I'm not single, but I have very minuscule, very small demands.
You see, the key
on a
is to
day-to-day
get
basis.
a girlfriend who's working also, make
That's
some
strategy,
money.
man. No, but this story I want to share with you is something that it's just a story I heard from a friend of mine, right? But it left such a huge imprint on me. Someone bought crypto with 5-figure amount, let's say about 30K ringgit lah. And he actually rode through, whatever coin he bought, he rode it till a point where it's about tens of millions in ringgit. And you know what? Tens of millions in ringgit is about 3 million US dollar. That is retirement money anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So you can live in the Bahamas like for the rest of your life.
You can live in the
Just don't be
US
stupid lah,
in certain places as well.
So, I think if you were in the right frame of mind, like, which in hindsight it should have been, right? You would take the money and then you just live and retire. But this same person also saw that 8-figure amount, okay, about like 15 million ringgit, drop back to 6-figure, maybe about 400-500K. It wasn't specific with the amount. But just imagine what that means, right? What that does to your psyche, and just seeing the number go from an 8-figure amount back to a 6-figure amount. I think if he were to ask himself that, hey, this is the amount I'm comfortable with to retire, maybe taking profit in hindsight would have been a better move, but I didn't. So I want to sit down, and I should be sitting down knowing the exact or rough soft target that I want to achieve in a year. And if I hit it, dude, I think I need you to slap me in the face if I say, bro, that's not enough.
Right.
I need you to slap me in the face and then tell me, sit down with me, and then just help me to reprioritize what my demands in life are. So yeah, so that's a story I want to share.
All right. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, and if you think that there's someone who could benefit from this, do share it with them. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, things like that. Hop on our Telegram channel, follow us on our socials, Instagram, Facebook, etc., and see you in the next video.